Hi there, this is Callum Thompson, your Learning Support Officer for the Business School. This is the sixth and final video in a short series of videos looking at the Moodle Unit Self-Checklist. So previous videos I've looked at the instructions and expectations section, support for students, assessment, organisation and content, and the reading list and resources. And this video is looking at readability and navigation. So, the first criteria within this section is, do links have meaningful names indicating the content of target pages under files? So I'm going to jump into my unit area, which I've been using as an example, and if I just scroll down, I'll have a look at some of the files, and we can see that there's two PDFs here called Unit Specification. Quite difficult to elaborate on that. I mean, it's quite clear what that is, and a Harvard referencing guide. So that's quite clear what's in there as well. There's then a website which is linked, which is general advice on completing assignments. That's very clear what the information is going to be in there. Now if I scroll further down, there are these lecture slides here, which are just called lecture slides, so it's not very clear what's in there. Perhaps giving them a name from the week which they're from, so introduction and overview lecture slides will be much clearer for the students, especially as it's at the bottom of that topic area, so it's just kind of sitting out there on its own. But generally, having looked through this unit area, it's very clear what the files link to. So I think that for this point we can give it a tick. What we're trying to avoid with giving meaningful names is having lots of files like myslides.ppt or my document or document1. It makes it very difficult for students to navigate that information if the files have got kind of funny names for them. Well, not funny names, but just very bland names that don't tell anything about the content. So the next point within this section is, are consistent and appropriate text size and fonts used for headings and the main text? If we get back in, let's have a look through. Now we can see that within the varying topics there are there's kind of headings at the top which are just in bold, and then the rest of it's just in standard text, and it's all in a fairly standard size as well, so I mean that keeps it quite clear and neat. There's not lots of kind of big text. It's very distracting, putting people off as they read through it, so that's fine as well. The only point which I noticed earlier on about this is that the top couple of paragraphs are all in bold. Perhaps that's been done deliberately, perhaps not, but I don't think that's particularly clear. It's not really required, if anything. So using bold text is good for titles, but perhaps not for everything. It makes it quite heavy to look at. Other than that, I think that one's fine. So if you can fix the bold text, that's fine, but everything else is okay. The next point, do graphic images, use of colour and layout improve readability? So if we jump back into our unit area, we can see that generally there's not much use of colour, so it's nothing too off-putting. My personal preference is to be quite minimal with these things, and I think that kind of keeping it quite clear and black and white makes it very, very clear. But the use of images is good for giving an indication of the subject. So for example, this unit area, it's got quite a good identity around it. It's about brand management, and it's the unit leader shaking hands with a Coca-Cola bear, so a big piece of branding there, one of the biggest brands in the world. It gives a good impression of the unit and the subject material that's in the unit. So that's one recommendation that I do make, is to, within the week 0 area at the top where you're putting in this introductory information, it's quite nice to stick an image there that just gives a bit of information about the unit and the subject material. And you can do that further down if you have time to enter images into each of the topics. That's a really good little way of giving an introduction, a visual introduction to the topic as well. You can also use the same images that you use in PowerPoint slides and lectures as well, and that gives quite a good visual link for the students. So they see the slides within the lecture, and then they go into Moodle, and then they see the image there as well, and they make that visual link. So as far as the graphics, you can say yes, there's some good use of graphics there, makes it quite clear. Final point is, our paragraph breaks and white space used appropriate to aid understanding and readability of content. We've already sort of looked at this before, but generally we've got quite nicely broken up paragraphs and nice little bits of white space, just to make sure that there's not big blocks of text there that students are wading through. It's all quite clear and easy to read. So for that final point, you can say that yes, they are. Okay, so that's us reviewed our full Moodle unit area. I hope that's been helpful.